Good evening. The November 7th, 2024 regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission is called to order. I will be conducting roll call to determine a quorum. Chair Colopy is absent. Vice Chair Parker is absent. Commissioner Henneman?
Here.
Commissioner Gilliland?
Here.
Commissioner Wood? Let the record reflect all commissioners are present with the exception of Chair Colopy and Vice Chair Parker with excused absences. So since both the chair and vice chair are absent tonight, the commissioners in attendance will nominate a commissioner to act as chair for the remainder of the meeting. So can I have a nomination?
I nominate Commissioner Henneman, please.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and I will do a voice roll call. Commissioner Gilliland?
Yes.
Commissioner Henneman?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Okay, let the record reflect that Commissioner Henneman will act as chair for the remainder of the meeting, and I will ask for a brief pause.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Gilliland.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's move on to the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, are there any changes to the agenda for this evening's meeting? Okay, seeing none, commissioners, please make a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
So moved. Okay, I'll second. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Commissioners, please vote.
Is she seconding that?
I think you seconded it, right?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do it. Okay. I didn't know what she ended up deciding.
And here we go again.
Just say yay. Motion passed. Okay.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Thank you very much. Administrative update, Parks and Community Services Manager administrative update is the opportunity for the Parks and Community Services Manager, Leah Kolick, to provide community updates as well as department or commission announcements on current or upcoming projects. May we please have the administrative update?
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. This evening we have a Park Ranger update for you. The Commission back in, I think it was their May 2024 meeting, had asked for a Park Ranger update. We had put that off until we had a full complement of our rangers, as we do this evening. So first off, I would like to introduce Michael Melendez. He is our third ranger, filling in Jasmine Jennings' spot. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our park rangers for their update this evening.
So if you're here, who's watching the parks? I appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Commissioners. So as Ms. Kolick said, you have three park rangers, myself, Melissa Price, Ranger Cesar Roscoe, and our new ranger, Michael Melendez. I'll give you a little bit about Michael Melendez. He's been a resident of Murrieta since 1998. and is a Murrieta Mesa graduate. He worked as a rec leader with the department CSD since 2016 and is now full-time. He's gained experience as a park ranger with the city of Vista before coming here. And on his off time, he enjoys tabletop role play games, hiking outdoors, leather and woodcraft, and attending comic conventions and Renaissance fairs. A little about us park rangers. Some of our duties, or our main duties, are patrolling and monitoring all 53 parks and over 20 miles of city trails. We enforce all the municipal codes within the park system, and as well as the permits and field use with organized sports and teams. Usually on our first contact with somebody not obeying the rules or complying by the rules, it's usually a warning given, and then after that, it's a citation. We do patrol after hours, and we also close parks after hours. A majority of our citations are parking citations. They tend to work in having people park, using the park after the hours, whether it's hanging out and things like that. If they are parked after hours, they're given a citation and they're not locked in a gate. Most of our parks do have gates that we do lock. We don't lock them in to alleviate having to call an on-call maintenance person or PD. They're just usually there. We also ensure that the safety hazards and address any maintenance issues in the parks, and we respond to public questions and concerns. And along with park issues, we also help the Murrieta PD, whether it's a critical missing, traffic accidents if they're short on staff, traffic control, things like that. When they need us, we're there. We also do drone patrol. Ranger Orozco, he's our official drone operator, and he helps the homeless outreach team with encampments and the trails and the natural areas within the city. He'll go out with them. He'll take pictures for them to locate the encampments and things like that. We also address any issues within the park of the unhoused individuals. It's not a main problem inside our parks. We are constantly telling people that parks are closed after hours, after sunset, so that does help to keep the people and staying in the parks after hours. One issue that we're trying to combat right now is the e-bikes, e-conveyance. We're working with the PD. We do extra patrols in the parks and the higher usage parks, such as Cal Oaks and Los Alamos, usually after school, sporting events, sporting organizations. At the same time, we try to educate the public and the youth when it's possible for the safety and proper usage of their e-devices and when and where they can use them. We do outreach. Last year, we had 4 ranger wraps. Each ranger wrap had a different topic. What is a park ranger? Animals, fire safety, and trail safety. It was mainly geared to 3 to 9-year-olds. We had a total of 62 participants participating in all the ranger wraps. It was a joint effort with city departments and local businesses. The Murrieta Library was there at each one. We also had Murrieta Fire talking about fire safety, and Triple L Reptile, and they came and did an animal demonstration. Each participant was provided a snack and an outdoor activities. We gave a quick talk regarding each topic, and there was story time that pertained to the theme, which was given by the library. Each participant left with a completed craft and a goodie bag filled with miscellaneous items like ranger stuff, like a compass, flashlight, ranger hat, coloring pages, things like that. And we also help out at all the city-sponsored events, doing park enforcement, ranger outreach, and traffic control. And last month, we attended the Murrieta PD and CSD trunk or treat here at Town Square Park. And that's pretty much in a nutshell. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Does anybody have any questions of our park rangers? Well, first of all, welcome, Michael. Good to have you on staff. We're fully staffed there. One question just pertaining to homeless issues. I mean, you guys are boots on the ground in the parks. And just so the public knows, increase in homeless in our parks, decrease, don't notice them. What's up with that?
It's about the same as far as in the parks go. We do regularly get in contact with our homeless outreach person, Lindsay, and she will provide us information whether there's homeless in the area, whether it's in a shopping center, in a natural area, encampments. So we are aware, but as far as being in the parks all the time, it's not very much. We usually, if we do find them, we approach them. We let them know if they need assistance or offer them assistance, and that's when we contact the homeless outreach. Sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't, they leave, but it's not a big issue within the parks.
And one thing I'd heard over the years from citizens, residents, is homeless in the park using the restrooms, but the restrooms are locked after hours, right?
Yes, they are.
So
So they they hang out. We're not here, obviously, 24 hours.
Right.
They do know when they unlock, and they will go in and use the restroom, and maintenance staff will let us know. We try to get there and try to take care of that problem before they make their stay or their encampment there.
So because the restrooms are locked overnight, I mean, you're not there overnight, but obviously that will deter them from being in the parks to some extent overnight, in overnight hours.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from Commission? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for the good work you do,
Thank you, Commissioners.
and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
They're going to hit the road right now because they've got parks to lock up and
Have to lock up
restrooms
the
to lock
restrooms.
up, and they've got people to kick out of the parks and stuff like that.
All right. Hey, thank you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, if you, perfect.
Thank you for the presentation. At this time, any person may address the governing body, the commission
We've
tonight.
got two more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
getting ahead of
all right.
myself here.
Actually, we only have one more. I need to excuse Victor Patino from giving his update regarding the pool summary.
Okay.
He's ill today, so what staff will do is we will distill all of this information and put a summary in the recreation report for January, and that way you'll have the information at that time, and it will be given out to the public as well through that agenda process. So I just wanted to let you know that Victor's not here this evening, but we will get you the information in the January report. And then the third item, the third admin update that we have this evening, Roseanne's going to be providing a update on the military banner timeline and how that works with our holiday, the city manager's holiday banner program. So I'm going to turn it over to Roseanne right now.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners. So tonight I will be giving you an update on military banner timeline and how that is going to affect the military banner program moving forward. So in past years, we had 2 banner installations per year, once prior to Memorial Day and then another one prior to Veterans Day. Beginning this year, the city will be displaying holiday banners as part of the holiday decorations in downtown Murrieta. So on November 18th, those holiday banners will go up until like the first week of January. So that means the military banners that are currently being displayed will be temporarily taken down. So rather than putting up new banners right now to be taken down in a week, we decided that the new banners will go up in January after the holidays are over. So the timeline we're looking at is in January. The existing banners that are up right now will go back up in addition to the new applications that we have received. So this fall, we actually received 21 new applications, 11 active duty and 10 veteran. So in January, we'll have about 42 banners being flown down in downtown Murrieta. So in May of 2025, the banners that were installed in May of this year will come down and be retired, and then new applications that were received between now and March will go up. The banners that were installed in January will remain up along with the new banners in May. And then moving forward, there will be 1 installation per year in May. So new banners will go up in May, they'll be temporarily taken down between mid-November to January, go back up, and then retired the following May. And then after the banners are retired, there will be a retirement presentation in July prior to one of the concerts in the park. Are there any questions?
So is this the first year for the holiday banners?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
First year with holiday banners, not the first year for downtown holiday decorations.
Right.
So yes, so the holiday banners will consist of a banner, holiday themed, and then they'll have what is called a banner extension that's lit, little filigree on top of the banner and on the poles downtown.
Right.
And then in addition to the decorations downtown that they used as well, like the garland and so on, and then also Town Square Park and City Hall. And then we'll also decorate the city's Christmas tree as well.
So just from a timeline point of view, the military banners that are up now will be up for the parade
Yes.
on November 11th.
We will not take them down for the parade on Monday, so
Okay,
they
very
will
good.
still be up.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions of staff? Okay, thank you very much. Now I get on to public.
Yes,
Okay.
now, public comments.
This time, any person may address the governing bodies of our commission tonight on any subject pertaining to city business which does not relate to any item listed on the printed agenda. Normally, no action may be considered or taken by the governing body on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Madam Secretary, do we have any non-agenda public comments?
Yes, tonight we will be hearing from Michael O'Donnell. You may step up to the podium.
Thank you. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening. How are you?
Very good. How about yourself?
Okay.
Okay.
Back about 9 months ago, well, I've been walking in the park at Los Alamos Hills Sports Park for about a year. Over and over again, I would see citizens coming with their dogs, going over to the baseball fields at Los Alamos Hills. There's 4 fields there. They use all of them. They open the gates. They let their dogs in. They take them off the leash. They throw the balls. They let them run around for 5, 10, sometimes half an hour, 40 minutes. And they're pooping and peeing all over the grass the whole time. Yet, the majority of them do go and pick up the crap. But I've got a dog at home that craps on the concrete. And you can't get it up by picking it up. It stains the grass, and it's there. There's signs that regulate it. So I began calling probably about March, and there was a group, by that time, there was a group of citizens, I want to say it was, I don't know, a ranger, Price, contacted them. It was 5 or 6 people, some with 2 dogs, there coming and going, but they were meeting there. So they knew they could do it, and they didn't care about the rules. She came, she was very polite, very happy with her. She contacted them. They were swearing at me. She heard that just because I called to have the ranger come out. One was videotaping me, so forth, saying that it was their park, they could do what they want, and it wasn't my park. I told them just follow the rules. That's all I asked. I learned from that contact with Ranger Price that the rangers just give warnings. This gentleman stopped for about 2 weeks, and he started right back up again, along with some of the other ones that are there. I was told that they have, 53 parks that they have to patrol, and they can't be there every time. But when they do come, they give warnings. Now, what they are trying to tell me, and I've spoken to Victor Patino, I believe, and what he is telling me is that they were going to have a meeting and talk about, I'm going to run out of time, but I just asked Ranger Price tonight. She's worked here for 15 years. I asked her how many citations has she written for violating this rule. I don't know the ordinance. And she said 1.
Oh, dear.
Roscoe, Ranger Roscoe, I just met him tonight. I had his phone number and that. He's been here 2 years. He's written none. And then Michael, of course, has only been here a couple months or a month, and I met him. So I would just like to have, and then a big part of this, if I could finish, give a little more.
You take the time you need.
Okay, thank you. Is that when they contact these people at all the different parks that they do, They don't get their names, no identifying information, and then they don't write it down anywhere and keep track of who they're contacting. So there's no way to know who they warned. Now, what they've tried to tell me, and I worked in law enforcement, so I know unless it's written down, it didn't happen. That day that she contacted that group of people, she can't tell you who their names are or who they are. She's just going by maybe memory of, 7, 8 months ago that she could identify the guy again. If not, she's going to give him another warning. But they said that, when they're done contacting them, they notify the other rangers and let them know that they contacted somebody and gave them a warning. There's no way that they're able to identify that person in the future, and they're going to give them another warning if they're out, if it's a different ranger. So I just would like to have something done. The last time I spoke to Victor and explained to him that it's just not happening, these same people are still coming out in that. He basically shrugged me off and said, well, that's the way we're going to do it. We're just going to give warnings. So I'd wish that there would be some enforcement, because this guy, and there's others, but this is the one that was swearing at me and that. The other one swore too. But there's a lady that comes out there, she was out there today too, and when he is there, she'll go onto the field with him and throw the ball. When he's not there, she comes a little bit later in the mornings, and I walk Tuesday through Friday. My neighbor walks Monday through Friday, and he's the one that told me he's there, the guy with the poodle, the one that we called on. He's there every morning at 6 o'clock. I called Ranger Price 2 Fridays ago, so tomorrow would be 2 weeks, and I told her about it, and she wasn't able to get out there that day. She hasn't been out there since to contact him. I called her this morning, and she came in late because of the meeting tonight, so she adjusted her shift so that she could be here tonight. Otherwise, she's there, I think, at 6 o'clock. One day I called the police department to see if there was a ranger on duty, because all my numbers turned out to be wrong. And they sent an officer, and the officer gave them a warning. And I go, come on, and it's just like, well, that's the way we're going to handle it.
Okay.
More times than not, they say, it's not, the police officers I've talked to in the past, they just say, well, that's not our job.
Okay.
So I would just like something done.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Maybe there's nothing we can do about that tonight, except staff is now aware.
Well, they're aware, and I've talked to Leah. It's Leah?
Leah, yes.
Leah. I've spoken to Leah on the phone. She gave me the same.
Yeah.
I don't want to say same story. It makes it sound negative connotation, but she explained I believe. I'm not misspeaking.
No,
That's kind of it. Give a warning. And when I brought it to her attention too about, well, there's no documentation of who they've talked to. They can't share that. There's no data sharing or anything. They can't go to some computer, laptop or something to say, here's who we've contacted. Here's their dog description, or maybe some pictures. I mean, technology, you could do all that. And none of that is happening. And she was good with it too, along with Victor. So that's just the way.
I appreciate you bringing that to our attention very much. And your being here tonight perhaps elevates.
I'm sorry?
Your being here tonight perhaps elevates the discussion that may go on in the future.
I've tried to do the phone calls and that.
Right.
My
Okay.
next step, again, I think there should be proactive enforcement of this.
Right.
This guy's there every morning at 6 in the morning.
Okay.
Sometime, now I got there this morning at 10 till 7, and he was just finishing up.
Okay.
So he's there.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Would you like me to stay, or you're done with me?
You can stay as long as you want. Now, we are not allowed, because it's a non-agenda item, we're not allowed to talk about it here tonight, but we appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Are there any other people wishing to address the public comments?
There are no further public comments.
We'll move on to the consent calendar then.
Can we discuss the rangers?
All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the governing bodies and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. There will be no discussion of these items unless the governing body votes on the motion to adopt. Specific items are removed from the consent calendar for separate motions. Have we had a chance to look at the consent calendar items? And I'm looking for a motion for approval of the consent calendar.
I make a motion that we approve.
Okay, you gotta do it on there. And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion? Commissioners, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Moving on to our next item, item 1, the Adopt a Trail program. Can we have a staff report, please?
You may. Good evening, Commissioners. The item before you is information relating to the city's Adopt a Trail program. Staff would like to discuss and review the program information with the Commission to see if there are any recommendations and or direction on changes to the rules, procedures, as well as the ancillary documents. The Adopt a Trail program was started a number of years ago by the City of Murrieta. It allows individuals, families, community members, businesses to take on a trail, maintain it for a certain number of months, call it their own, and help the city ensure that the trail maintenance is up to standards enough for people to, and safe enough for people to walk, ride their bike, ride their horse on it. So other governing agencies, other cities also have a similar program. Funnily enough, it is also called Adopt a Trail. I believe Lake Elsinore has one, Menifee has one, Temecula has one. All the programs are very similar in nature. You apply for a trail to be adopted. You take on the task of litter removal, very light maintenance. You report graffiti. You report any damage due to erosion on the trail. And the individuals or families or businesses that have adopted the trail report that in. There's certain forms to fill out, guidelines on what to wear, how to behave on the trail in terms of watching out for poison oak or snakes and things like that, safety measures. So all of that has been put into a packet. And this evening, we would like to review this information before formally kind of announcing it to the world that the city has this program, and to make sure all the information that we're putting out there encompasses everything that we can. We see the information kind of in a tunnel. Sometimes we don't see certain things, and that's where the commission comes in to help us say, well, have you thought about that, or have you thought about this? And that's what we're here to do tonight. So we have this item before you again. We had brought it before last time, but the commission had wanted to do a little bit more research on it, and then it's brought back tonight to kind of finalize that. So in the agenda report, you'll notice that we've asked some questions. We were hoping to get those answered this evening, as well as any corrections, changes, modifications to these ancillary documents that are before you that you might like to see incorporated. So that is my report, and I'm willing to start wherever you'd like to start on the discussion.
Commissioner?
So my first inclination is, your first question about should volunteer groups be responsible for replacing their sign if vandalized. I think that's a yes. I mean, as part of their duties of adopting that section of trail, they should be out there at least every 3 months, so they should be able to hopefully mitigate any sort of damage.
The 3 months thing, I wanted to explain that a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of times we have one Broncos 26, Rosa? Broncos 26, so it's a school group that they've got together and they've adopted this trail for community service hours. Well, they really don't want to maintain the trail during school off time, like in the summer. So that's why we were saying every 3 months, but if you feel that it needs to be addressed more often, at least once every other month or once a month, we can look at that as well. But that's the reason we kind of went every 3 months, because we've had a number of school groups come together and want to adopt a trail for community service hours. They just don't want to maintain the trail during the summer, during their time off, because of vacations and wanting to be with friends and so on. So that was the explanation on that. And then I wanted to point out with the sign, we provide a sign at the trailhead that says this trail has been adopted by. And if that trail sign gets vandalized, we weren't sure how many times would the city be obligated to replace that trail sign, that adopted trail sign.
Those are all great questions because, as a volunteer group, they probably aren't going to have a lot of funding, to back up. So, and once every 3 months, like you said, that's not a lot, because trails can get overgrown really quickly. And, but I see the point of the summer. Yeah. And maybe there's just disclosures with each group, if it's a specific group and they're students, that it's going to be more likely they can't.
We could do it maybe on a case-by-case basis, something like that.
Might depend on the area of trail, too, I'm thinking. Some areas might not need as much TLC, so to speak, as other areas. So maybe they could adopt those.
There are, the length of trail that they adopt is no more than a mile. But some trails aren't quite a mile. Sometimes they're only, a half a mile or 3/4 of a mile. But they adopt up to, but not to exceed 1 mile. And I think we currently have 2 other groups having adopted a trail, Roseanne?
Yes. So at the moment, there are 3 trails that have been adopted. We have the Las Brisas Trail, and that's adopted by Broncos in Action 26. That's the school group that Leah had mentioned. And then also Rancho Acacias Trail is adopted by the business mattress firm. And then we recently had a Rail Ranch Trail adopted by Michael and Gretchen Sedlacek. And Gretchen works for the library. So she was inspired by the last presentation of the Adopt a Trail program and decided to get involved.
Yeah. So if you'd like, we could just go through maybe the questions a little bit. And then if there's changes that you would like to see in the forms or anything, we could take those recommendations and incorporate them.
Well, number 2, I definitely think, they need to be recognized. However, mechanism I think that the city would utilize, because after all my years of doing things, if people aren't recognized, then they slowly drift away and you never see them again. So, and it is nice. It's a nice thing to have. And I think it's a great PR move for the Adopt a Trail program and to encourage more families to get out there. Yeah,
especially if you get some of these youth groups, they see their older brother and sister getting recognized. So a year or 2 later.
Definitely looks good on a college resume.
It does look good.
Yeah.
So for the sign replacement, we haven't had that many signs that were Adopt a Trail recognition be vandalized. Maybe we should look at, just one replacement. If it goes beyond that, we can maybe have a discussion with them as to.
I think it would be hard to tell a volunteer group that somebody tore down their sign. We need $25 or probably more than $25 to. So you can continue to volunteer on a trail with your name on it.
The signs are about $45 or $50.
Okay. I think my thought on that would be more of a case-by-case basis and see how it goes.
Okay.
I mean, if you've got one particular area where the sign's getting vandalized all the time, then that may be more of an issue, but that'd be kind of my thought.
Okay.
Commissioner Woods, anything on that?
No, I'm looking at it now.
Okay.
I see. I'm looking.
And I think as far as 3, if the city, has the budget and can just, at least provide trash bags, just little things to the volunteer group, I think that'll encourage them to keep it clean.
So we do supply safety vests. They're required to wear safety vests on the trails so that they're identified if there are other trail walkers on there. And then we provide the trash bags. Other equipment, we were thinking of possibly providing them were the trail pickers. That way they don't have to keep stooping down. But it is an investment, and we wanted to get your opinion on what that investment might look like. How many people are in the Broncos 26 group, Roseanne?
There's 3. There's three total.
Okay. So the trail pickers aren't that much. They're about $15 each. But if they sprout legs and walk away, we don't get those back. And then if we have such a large group and all the trails are adopted, hopefully, then that's a much greater investment. So we wanted to find out.
That could be something I would think that if you've got 20 people in a group and you give them 20 of those pickers, and at the end of it, you get 17 of them back, that may be something you go to the group and say, hey, those are $15 each.
Okay.
And we need to have 20 for this trail or 40 altogether or whatever. And at least somebody walked off with one. Or if it's broken, you turn it in. But
Turn it in if it's broken, absolutely.
I think that might be something, a way to go on that, better than the sign replacement in my head.
And I apologize, Leah, but I haven't read this thoroughly, but just a quick question that comes to my mind just because of my life and what I do. Is there like a safety sort of briefing for these volunteers? And, when they're out cleaning up trails, we certainly don't want them to accidentally pick up a needle or, maybe other items that they may inadvertently run across, just the liability factor.
So Roseanne is our program manager for this particular program. I'll let her answer that question.
Okay. So as part of the packet, there is like a safety requirements, and then it's also explained in the requirements that they are to elect a trail leader, that they are to give a safety briefing before each cleanup. And then as part of the reporting form, one of the questions on there was a safety brief performed prior to the cleanup.
And this trail leader would be someone over 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
And they'll be taught how to use the Fix-It app, where to find that on our website. So if there is graffiti or if there's vandalism or if there is something like a dead animal or carcass, needles or something like that on the trail, they take a picture and then they upload it to the Fix-It app and it gets sent. It's a geopositioned location in the app, and that goes to maintenance, and then maintenance knows where it is, and then they would handle that situation.
I had one question that I brought up last time, and I don't think Commissioner Gilliland was here. As you see these signs on the highway and other places that, this section of the road is sponsored by AM/PM Mini Mart or, Bank of America. Well, Bank of America isn't out there picking up trash. Bank of America has paid Caltrans or someone $300 a quarter or whatever it is, so that to offset the costs of people who get paid to pick up trash, I didn't see an opportunity like that in the proposal
In terms
that
of
came forward. It's just an option. Hey, I'm a small business. Say I'm Joe's Cupcakes an
option to sponsor a trail.
Sponsor a trail for a
versus,
set amount of whatever, and have, because
Okay.
Joe, if Joe's Cupcakes is a small business with 3 people, they don't have time to go out there and, yeah. So
We could look at
kind of
that.
brought that up last time, and I thought that's at least an opportunity to offset some of the costs of the city doing that, and also a small business or a big business. Yeah, Bank of America is not a small business.
So they would sponsor the trail, and then they would pay a certain sum for that trail to be sponsored, which
Right.
would go as a revenue into the
Revenue
budget.
into the city to offset the cost of city staff picking up trash.
Okay.
Buying the pickers.
We can,
You could also, piggybacking on that idea, you have a local business that sponsors the trail, but you can still have students work their community service hours off cleaning up that trail.
Right.
So it's kind of a partnership with the schools.
Absolutely.
maybe.
It's Joe's Cupcakes Day at the XYZ Trail, and we want the kids to all come down, and you get a free cupcake when you
Whatever.
when you pick up, for every bag of trash you turn in.
so would there be a certain dollar amount? Let's say for every quarter of a trail, the sponsorship would be $100? Or what would you propose for that?
You know what, how much this is going to, what this offsets, I have no idea. You maybe start at $100 or something, and if you get 12 businesses lining up to do it, then next year you make it $150 or so. And if it works in the business, it might, it's good, could be very good public relations. And if for a neighborhood business, to see that business actively involved in the community by keeping it beautiful.
We could look into that. I have some questions for other departments
Right.
on whether or not a sponsorship needs to be in our fee schedule. That would be one question
Okay.
I would like to ask finance, or how we would work that. But I think
We're just the idea people up here. We're not the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
Okay.
I think we need to say because some of our trails are very small. Our smallest trail is about 0.45 miles.
Right.
So I would think that every quarter of a mile, we would want a sponsor donation of $50 or $100.
Okay.
And then if they sponsor this length of trail, it would be, however quarter segments would be their total sponsorship. So I would have some follow-up questions for other departments on how we would implement that, but I can
Yeah, I
certainly
wouldn't
do a little
hesitate
bit more
launching this
research.
program because of that, but I can see that incorporating that in
So
once,
that-
if it's feasible.
Yeah, that could be a
down the
phase
line.
2, if you
Yeah,
will.
phase.
If we could get the information settled upon for this part
Right.
tonight, and then we could research sponsoring a trail and bring that back at a later date.
Right.
Okay.
I'm assuming on the documents, all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed, and we're not reinventing the wheel here.
We have been looking at this for a number of months.
Yeah.
So I think we've caught everything.
Right.
I hope we've caught everything.
I'm thinking Commissioner Colopy is home holding this up and going, wait a minute.
So just running down our questions right quick. So the volunteer group and the sign vandalism, we'll take that on a case-by-case basis. It just depends on how many times a sign gets vandalized. But if it's vandalized, once, we're happy to replace it. But if it's a continued thing, I think that's indicative of maybe a larger problem that needs to be investigated.
Right.
And then the once every 3 months, it just depends on who's coming in. So it would be a case by case. If we'll ask them if they want to address the field trail items and look at that a little bit more often, we're happy to
Right.
take that into consideration and allow them to monitor the trail.
I think it's just
more.
flexibility is needed, especially as this is launched.
Okay.
Again, I understand we had a program like this a number of years ago, and it kind of fizzled out after a while. But just some flexibility, at least going into it.
And then I think the city has no use for the volunteer sign after their service is completed. So I think presenting them with their sign maybe presenting them their sign and then taking that photo of them and posting it on Facebook and Nextdoor, Instagram might be a way to encourage future Adopt a Trail groups to come in.
Absolutely.
And then And then we were thinking maybe having a proclamation signed by the mayor for each of the individuals in the group so they can have that for their file or whatever they might want
And
to
the
use
same
it
with the
for in
business, they
future.
could put it up in their business.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So if you're comfortable with those acknowledgements, we can move forward with that.
Okay.
And then trash pickers, I think maybe if we bought, 40 and we bought that for the year and then hand them out to the groups. And if there's additional individuals that need them, we just have that 40.
I mean, if they were going on a Saturday, you could hand them to a group leader on a Friday. Here's 20. Monday, we want 20 of them back.
Something like that,
Something
yes.
like that. Little accountability anyhow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so that you know that any debris or trash that they pick up on the trail, they don't take it home with them. There are designated spots. They leave the trash. We let maintenance know. They come and pick it up in their trucks. So
Okay.
they're not taking that home with them.
They don't pick it up?
They pick up the trash,
Yeah.
put it in the bag,
Yeah,
and they leave it at a designated spot off the trailhead, and maintenance will come by and pick up the bags.
they wear
Sometimes
Do they wear gloves?
we recommend that they wear gloves, hats, sunscreen, long pants, closed-toed shoes. That's part of the information that we have provided for them in their safety brief, and that's what we recommend them wearing.
Very good. Any other questions of staff? Thank
I
you.
have no more questions. That's
Thank you very
and,
much.
What if you could make a motion saying to incorporate these recommendations into the information, we will, and then we'll be on our way and start posting that and advertising that on Facebook and so on.
So moved.
Love
Can I
it.
get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, commissioners, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Moving on to discussion item 2, cancellation of the January 2nd, 2025 commission meeting date. You have a staff report, please.
I do have a staff report
you
for you.
might.
So the first Thursday in January, which is the next scheduled meeting, happens to be January 2nd. That is the day after the national holiday of New Year's Day. I looked when Roseanne and I were preparing this agenda packet, we looked at how many staff had requested time off the 2 to 3 weeks before that and figured there is no way we would be able to put together a cogent agenda packet that would benefit your time that quickly. So staff is requesting canceling the regular meeting of January 2nd and scheduling a special meeting sometime another date in January. And that is our request. There are a couple ways the commission can do this. First, we will need a motion to cancel the regular meeting. The next is picking a date. So we can either pick a couple of dates tonight, and we can check in with our 2 absent commissioners to see if those dates work, or we could just cancel the January 2nd meeting, and we could email the commission and ask if there is consensus on a date that might work. So we can pick a couple of dates tonight and see if our absent commissioners are able to attend one of those 2, or we can just leave it open and we would email individually and find out what dates work for you and see if there's a common date that works for everybody.
So if we went a week later, the 9th, is that still, people still on vacation, recovering from New Year's?
I would ask for maybe
The
one
16th?
more, the 16th, yeah,
Maybe the
if that's
16th?
possible.
Okay, so the 16th would be the earliest I would think we'd want to go.
That's a good date.
I mean, I'm fine with that, and we can adopt that tonight,
Okay,
and if we can get a motion anyhow, and check in with the other 2 commissioners, and if that doesn't work for them, then we have some flexibility
Sure.
there too.
So I would need a motion tonight to cancel the regular meeting
Okay.
and to reschedule with a special meeting to January 16th.
So, motion to adopt.
Okay, I need a motion.
I make a motion that we cancel the regular.
Speak into that. There you go.
Oh, I make a motion that we cancel the regular meeting on the 2nd of January
January 2nd and reschedule to January 16th.
and reschedule for January 16th.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, commissioners, please vote.
Okay.
All righty.
Motion carries unanimously.
And we've got one other item, item 3, Parks and Recreation Commission Agenda Forecast.
So we listen to the commission. We listen to you ask for certain items to be placed on the agenda. We thought maybe we'd go one step more and maybe put down everything that we can think of that's coming up and place them on certain meeting dates that make sense. And this way, the commission would see what was coming up, and then if there was something that the commissioners might want in addition to what we've have already identified, we can look at the forecast and see what meeting that might be best placed on. So that's what we've provided you tonight, is the forecast, which is about a year's worth of meetings, and the topics that we believe are placed on the ideal meeting date. For example, special events and senior center events we have scheduled for the meeting in January. Well, this way, the staff that oversees both of those sets of events can come in and say, this is what we have planned for the year. And it makes sense to have them come in January. Whereas in August or September, it makes sense for the youth center to come in because the youth center is based on a school year. And then, of course, we have the board reorganization in March. That's an annual task that needs to be done. So we've identified that. So this is everything that we can think of, and it's placed on a meeting date that we believe fits the best. One of the topics is the master plans. I wanted to point that out, that's going to have to be a special meeting, and we're hoping that all of you will be able to attend that with our consultant present, so you can comment on both the Parks and Recreation Master Plan update and the Trails Master Plan. I don't have that date set yet. We're doing a preview presentation with the City Manager's Office later this month, so it'll be based on what comments and corrections they would like to see, and then it would go to Parks and Recreation Commission, Planning Commission, and then City Council. So I don't have those dates yet, but as soon as I do, I will ask what date would be best, and we'll get that scheduled as a special meeting. But otherwise, if you can look over the agenda forecast, and if there's anything that you would like to include, we can add that at this time. And this item will be on every single agenda meeting date, and then we'll discuss it each time. If there's anything else that you would like to add, or if you would like to see something come sooner, or rearrange a couple, bring one up and put another back later, we're open to your comments and suggestions.
Well, this is very helpful, I think. I think one of the issues that the chair had, and I know I had too, is because we meet so infrequently, and items can come up in the meantime when we're talking to residents or something happens in the community that really needs to come before the commission, at least for the initial public hearing. What type of lead time, what do we need to do to get that to staff so that we can put it on the agenda, number one, at least to discuss it and give staff time to prepare for whatever that might be.
So we asked the city clerk that question, so it needs to be done in an open forum, such as a commission meeting. So that's why we handed you this forecast.
Right.
So if there is a topic you would like to bring, at the next meeting, you would say, I would like to bring this item, and I believe it fits best after looking at the forecast on this meeting date. Is that enough time for staff to compile a report? And then that's when we would place it on the agenda forecast. It cannot be done by email, I'm told. It can't be a topic that's
In other words, like any other
voted
meeting,
on
is
by email.
if someone from the public comes up and says, hey, this is a big issue in such and such area, and you can't talk about it tonight, but we can go, yes, we cannot talk about it tonight, but we can ask that that be put on the agenda for the following meeting, and staff have time to investigate, and then we can discuss it. Because I think a lot of people don't understand that, and it goes to the council on down. They come in with an obvious an issue or a complaint or something they want to see done,
Yes.
and the wheels of government turn slow, but they turn slow for the reason to keep everything open. And that's the kind of the issue we had here. Stuff comes up in between, and especially, we don't meet every 2 weeks. We meet every 2 months.
So it can't be put on the agenda by asking the commission in an email to do that.
Right.
It has to be done in an open forum. So that's why this agenda forecast is provided. And at each meeting, you would say, can we add this to that, this meeting, the May meeting or the July meeting?
Okay. Any questions of staff?
No, I'm still looking.
Would the commission like to add any items to the agenda forecast for discussion, for future discussion?
That's a whole year.
It is. Yes. We heard you. We wanted to make
Right.
sure we were thorough so that you knew what was coming up and when certain things that are annual occurrences, such as the board reorganization or the park assignments, those are annual tasks
Right.
that come before the commission at a certain time every year.
This still gives us, the commission, the flexibility, like when we had the Rangers in here tonight. We asked about that a couple of months ago. Hey, we'd really like to get an update on where that goes. Maybe not the Rangers, but maybe something else that we would have to bring it up in a meeting and say we want to discuss at our next meeting, at our June meeting, X, Y, Z.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So we've tried to bring before the commission representatives from all different aspects of Parks and Recreation at least once. So, Michelle will talk about recreation classes. Zebby will talk about the trail cleanup requests, the one-time trail cleanup requests or park cleanup requests. Laura, even Brian Crawford, we've got him coming out of his little cubby so that he can talk to you about capital improvement projects.
Very good. All right. Any other questions, Madam Secretary? Are there any public comments on this item?
What about, like that guy that spoke tonight, do we do anything more for him?
Well, that's, Commissioner Wood brings up an excellent point. The gentleman who is here speaking tonight, is that something?
Absolutely. If you wish to discuss Mr. O'Donnell's comments about the process that the Rangers go through in citations, warnings and citations, we can certainly add that to as a future agenda topic.
Okay.
What do you think?
And we would have a presentation by the Rangers and possibly, staff about, we saw what his issue was.
Yeah.
We're taking names and not writing them. This is what he said anyhow.
It was
but obviously it's an issue with him and some people in his community.
It was definitely his side. So if you would like to hear the Rangers' side of what the process they go through, we can certainly bring
And it
that
also
item
would
back.
be public notice so that people who on the other side of that issue would have an opportunity to say, hey, this is what's happening, and I clean up after my dog or whatever. Just, the truth always lies somewhere in the middle is what I've pretty much found over the years. So could we request, January might be a little early.
Yeah.
Maybe request that at the March meeting.
March.
If you look at your agenda forecast, you can see how busy March is.
Okay.
Well, they got some
And
meetings.
January might be better. Well, we get the master plan. Well, the master plan is a separate meeting.
That will be a special meeting, yes.
Well, March has got some work, maintenance.
I think we can do it in January.
Oh, you think you would do it in January? Okay, well, do we need a motion to request,
I think in the council meetings, I don't necessarily believe they motion. I believe they ask for consensus.
okay, I'd like to ask for the board, for the commissioner for consensus to bring back that item at our January meeting for discussion.
Yes, I agree.
Okay,
I agree as well. It'd be good to understand the procedural,
right,
how it happens.
okay.
Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's very timely. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll make sure we know that people we're listening to people.
Yeah.
I guess this is a receive and file.
Yes, it is.
So we'll receive and file it, and we'll move on to commissioner member announcements. Commissioner member announcements, opportunity for commissioners to provide miscellaneous reports and announcements. Commissioner Wood, do you have any announcements?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Wood, none. Commissioner Gilliland,
I have one item.
well, I have one too.
Okay, you go first.
We have a couple of commissioners whose terms expire at the end of this year. And we probably won't deal with that at the January meeting because that's kind of the way it's been
That's
done.
handled by the city clerk.
Right.
So what I've been told are letters will be sent to those commissioners
Okay.
that have not termed out, asking if they would like to reapply for another term.
Okay.
And those applications will there will be a link likely in the letter that's sent to them. And you would follow that link, complete the application, and turn it into the city clerk's office.
And is there advertisement or something going out?
I believe so.
They're saying that they're, two terms, or they're potentially 2 terms open. I'm not shoving anybody out the door here, but potentially anyhow, legally we have to make sure that the public knows that there are opportunities to serve.
Yes, and the city clerk, they were very, very busy with the election, so
Right.
I would imagine that should be going out in the next few weeks.
Right. And we'll probably end up dealing with that in March.
I'm not sure of the timeline. I can
Okay.
find out for
All
you.
right. Okay.
So I have to remind everybody that the Veterans Day Parade is Monday. You are very welcome to attend. We have sent invitations to you, so if you're able to make it, we have room. Don't worry, there's plenty of room. And then also I wanted to mention, as the commission had commented on, I think it was last winter sometime, regarding the point-in-time count. So you had me look into it. It used to be every year.
Every year.
It's now every other year. And 2025, in January, the point-in-time count will take place. So if you're wanting to participate, I can get you the link to the county's website to sign up.
Okay. Oh, the other thing I might want to bring up is I noticed that they're looking for Santas, and the Santa runs are coming back, and they'll be here before you know it, because it
Yes.
goes down right after Thanksgiving this year. So I know there was something on Facebook or something today, but
So there's a volunteer group that's heading
Right,
that,
right.
and there is an email link to volunteer for a number of different positions,
Right.
not just Santa, but candy cane helpers and characters and so on.
it's a full-blown, as we all know.
Yes.
I think I did it for 14 years, and it's very rewarding, but it's a lot of work. So if you
certainly
want to
is.
volunteer in your community, that might be a good way
Yes.
to do that and get involved. Okay. Anything else? I'm going to make a motion. Are we ready to adjourn?
I believe so.
I'm going to make a motion to adjourn, and I want to adjourn this meeting tonight in memory of our good friend Adam Bouvet. As most of us know, Adam was tragically killed in an accident a couple weeks ago in Dallas, Texas. Adam and Tracy, his wife, and Linda Westfall are at the mill have been great supporters of everything in this community, from Parks and Recs to everything else. And it's not just, and it shows the kind of business that when you give back to the community gives back to you. And he was a friend of mine for 30 years, and he will be missed. There is a celebration of life coming up for him on the 17th of this month, and there's details online. But I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our meeting tonight in memory of Adam Bouvet.
Okay, I second the motion.
Okay.
Let me do it.
I don't think we need to motion adjournments anymore. I think we're just adjourned.
We're just adjourned. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.